So we're back talking about the Tampa Bay real estate market, and we teased it before the break, but if you are someone who has hit a rough financial patch, lost a job, seen an income issue, maybe you had some repairs to your property you couldn't keep up with, or your insurance or taxes rose greater than expected, there are paths out there to avoid foreclosure. The key, I think, the most important thing about avoiding foreclosure is the timing of when you bought the property. There's a pretty good chance if you bought the property over the last 2 years that it may be worth more than what you paid for it. I can tell you from experience, having helped countless customers back in the real estate downturn that were in this position. You miss a few payments, and then late fees and attorney fees start to tack on when they start to pursue you in litigation. And I can tell you that it's generally a lot more than you realize. Those late fees, the backdated interest, them calling of the mortgage, it ends up, the fees mount pretty quickly. If you can be proactive and sell the home quickly, you're going to put yourself in a much better position to where you may not have to go to the bank and deal with anything. So if you miss a payment or two, look, there's nothing wrong with taking a step back to take a step forward. Get your equity out of it before it gets worse and before you miss payments and your late fees and penalties eat up all your equity. Maybe downsize for a little bit, go into an apartment. But it's one of the reasons why we do the instant cash offer program, where we can buy a home and close on it in as little as a week. We've had recent closings where we've bought a home from someone that was in this type of situation. We bought it from them in a week. They got their equity, they got their money, and they avoided, giving away all their money to the bank. And certainly, those situations aren't right for everyone, but they are right for some. And a lot of the national hedge funds that buy homes have really stringent criteria for condition. They want more turnkey, cookie cutter, lipstick kind of properties where they don't have to do a lot to them. So if your property is one that needs work, that's another opportunity for us to maybe step in and help you buy it, close quickly, so that you can avoid going down the path of missing months and months and months of payments and then falling behind. So it's an option that we provide to people. However, should you be in the place where you have missed months and months and you have had those late fees kick in, and you have been sued by the bank, and maybe you don't have much equity left in the house, there is something called a short sale. And short is not short in terms of length. It should be called a long sale. But a short sale is a situation where you sell the home for less than what you owe to get out of the situation and satisfy the bank. Now you've got to go through a lot of steps. You've got to provide financial documents. In some instances you may need to work with an attorney, but we sell the home to a buyer that buys it with the understanding that it may take a few months to get approval from the bank, and they accept the property in its as-is condition. The goal being to sell it to somebody likely who has cash that can deal with the repairs, and then a negotiation ensues with the bank to accept less than what is owed for the payoff. And so there are a lot of advocates out there for short sales because they feel and believe that it helps you jumpstart your credit a little bit better. There's less reporting and requirements. You do get some of the money to the bank, so you don't go in arrears for as long. And generally, the recovery from a short sale is better than letting it go all the way to foreclosure. So there's a lot of proponents out there for it. There are buyers out there for it, and there are people that are experienced doing it. If an agent got into business in the last, when was the last time we really saw a lot of short sales? Probably 2009, 10, you still saw some. They trickled out a little bit, maybe in 11. So if a real estate agent wasn't around then, they're new to the business in the last 5 years, that may not be the right agent that you want to trust with the short sale. It's a much more complex transaction in terms of the documentation, in terms of expectation setting, in terms of knowing what a bank will accept on that offer, and then knowing the steps you have to take and the buttons you have to push with the banks and the lenders, the title companies, the legal process. You don't want to make a mistake there. If
it's
you're
still a good idea to talk to an attorney and consider hiring an attorney to walk you through that process.
Correct. You still need an agent to sell the house, but depending on the situation, we always encourage attorney representation because they may be able to negotiate a better deal in terms of the credit and debt reporting, and we've seen people in financial ruin come to us and thinking about filing bankruptcy, and a lot of times we've heard, and again, this isn't legal advice, each situation is unique and different, but there are times when an attorney would say, sell the house first, deal with it, then file bankruptcy on the rest. And so the reality is there are options out there. And look, we don't judge, when we were first starting our company in the recession, probably half of our clients were people selling homes in a short sale. So it's not our place to judge you, it's our place to help you. So, it's completely confidential. We've gone through this before, we know how to handle it. So if you are someone that's in that rough spot, we have the resources and the tools to help you, and we've done a lot of them. I mean, when we first started, we were literally probably more than half of our business, it seemed like, was sellers or buyers on short sales. So we have a lot of experience, a lot more experience than most of the agents out there in the marketplace today.
And I know insurance is probably the last thing on your mind as a homeowner thinking about short sale, but there are a couple things just to keep in mind. For example, most insurance policies don't want a home that's been vacant more than 30 to 60 days. And if it is, then if something happens, you really are losing your ability to file a claim. If someone vandalized your home, things like that, then the insurance company could potentially turn down that claim. Also, if you're not making your mortgage payment, then you're not putting money into escrow. Perhaps your lender is going to put in forced place insurance, and that's a lot more expensive to you as a homeowner, which means at the end of the day, you've got more of a potential tax liability when they do the short sale and complete it.
And again, same thing, if you fall a few months behind, you may think, oh, well, I'm just a few months behind, but if they don't have the money in escrow and you're not making your payments, they're going to pay for insurance on the property, because at that point, they start to believe they may end up acquiring and owning that property someday, and they don't want something happening to it that harms their ability to sell it. They want to protect it as well, so they're going to put insurance on it, even if you're not paying. And then guess what? When it comes to the end of the day on what you owe and what you have to negotiate against, they're tacking that onto it. So, just be prepared for that. Firm believer that getting in front of it and getting it addressed as early as possible. Missing even one or two payments. Talk to somebody, call us, let us point you in the right direction, let us make a recommendation to a law firm, let us tell you what your equity position is. You may be in a better equity position than you realize. There are buyers out there for every type of property, no matter the condition, no matter the area. We cover the entire Tampa Bay area, and we've been involved in hundreds of short sale transactions. So, we have the experience to help you confidentially, because nothing's, it's a tough call for people to make, because a lot of people don't want to call and say, hey, I'm not able to make my mortgage payment, or I'm behind, or they're going to be embarrassed or whatever. But it's not our place. That's not what we're doing. We're just wanting to help you come up with the right solution. And our services, even in a short sale situation, our services don't cost you anything. Calling us and getting advice and us helping you set the property up to sell it. In the instance where you're doing a short sale, it's the bank that we're seeking to pay us. So there's no retainer to hire us, there's no cost, from you directly to us. We're just there to help you, and the solutions are varied. It could be we buy the home, and allow you to get out quickly. It could be, we put the home on the market to find a retail buyer. There's a lot of different solutions that are there. And we've even seen there are instances where the banks will actually pay you to a short sale. They'll give you relocation money. That's been negotiated before. They'll say, hey, here's some money to get out, so that we can acquire the property and we can get it sold and we can get some of our money back. So, most consumers out there have had their mortgage sold. They've seen it jump from one company to another company to another company. And there are some companies that are easier to work with, some that are harder. But when you go delinquent, a lot of the larger banks and lenders that own mortgages sell your mortgage off to someone else. You go delinquent, they're selling it off to somebody that in some instances could be perceived to prey on the consumer. So you go too far behind, and they're selling it off to somebody that intends to do everything they can to get you out of that house so they can make money. They want to profit off of it at that point. They don't care about you making your mortgage payment. So, it's best to be proactive and talk to somebody early in the process, and we can set some steps up to see what the right path for you is.
Right.
And so again, like we said, when you do call us, we're going to ask you some questions that may not be typical of a real estate agent asking the customer. We want to know how far behind. We want to know all those things, And so just be, honest and transparent. We've had people, that call us up and maybe they tell us, oh, I'm a little bit behind on the mortgage, and then we look it up and they're a month from the courthouse sale auction. So just be blatantly clear. Just be transparent. We're going to look that information up. It's going to be on public record. The title company is going to run some searches. We're going to see what the liens are. But the more that we know ahead of time before we have to go wait for that information to come back, the easier we can set up a plan to help you get to the other side.
Be honest about your repairs. If there's things that are wrong with the house, we need to know that up front as well.
Yeah, because we can position that to the bank to accept an offer that maybe they wouldn't accept if they know what's going on with the house in terms of if they acquire it, if they take it back, they're going to have to make those repairs. They're going to have to address those things. On the converse of that, there's a lot of people that did short sales back in 2009, 2010, 2011 that don't realize they can buy a home again. So if you're one of those people, there are certain programs at the mortgage companies that are available to you that aren't available with every mortgage company, where some mortgage companies don't have the program set up the right way. So it's important to reach out to somebody that knows this, and we've got a lot of experience with this. So make sure to contact us. Go to our website, theduncanduo.com, fill out a form, contact us. But if you're somebody that did a short sale back a few years ago, and you've reestablished yourself, you've been gainfully employed, you fixed your credit, you're not making late payments, you're paying all your bills on time, you can buy a home again in a lot of instances. Now, again, some of it will depend on, there's variables there, but there are plenty of people that we have helped. This year alone, dozens of people we've helped buy a home that had a short sale or foreclosure on their record back during the recession. So don't think that that's like the scarlet letter where you can never buy a house again. It's not. It's credit recovers. We have plenty of people in our sphere of influence that went through some rough patches, and now their credit's 700 score, and yeah, they've got to explain it, and yeah, a credit reporting agency is going to show that they got that 5 or 6 years ago, but nonetheless, if they're good now, they're going to be able to buy a home. So don't think that you can't, and don't be afraid. That's another thing. A lot of people are maybe afraid to buy again because they're afraid of something happening, and so the crash that we saw was unprecedented and not likely to repeat something as drastic again because of all the changes in the mortgage world. So a lot safer to purchase a home today, a lot more protections in place, not as many of the liar loans. Certainly the real estate market will shift again. Will it crash again? Yeah. When? Who knows? Will it be because of mortgage financing and liar loans and all the stuff that happened back then? Probably not. It'll be from something else. Like other real estate cycles have happened in the past, whether it was the stock market or politics or whatever it is. It won't be because of mortgages this time, because of all the protections that have been put in place. But nonetheless, you can buy a home again, very likely, if you're gainfully employed and you did a short sale or foreclosure back in the day. Don't think that you can't. If you're concerned, if you want to know, reach out. We can put you in touch with a great mortgage lender that can run through some numbers and kind of point you in the right direction. So we're going to talk after the break about a great new mortgage lender that we brought on. They're going to be hosting a show with us in the future, Cross Country Mortgage. We're excited to bring them on board, and they're going to be on the show with us pretty regularly starting next week. And we're going to talk about them, give you a little bit of tips about our relationship with them, how excited we are to work with them after a quick break here on WF.